everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Sandy.
And this is the Italian American Stories podcast. Well, it's that time of year again for a Halloween special.
Yeah, here we go.
Get ready to be scared. I'm just kidding. These aren't scary. I mean, they're fun, but I love this time of year. Spooky season and fall.
I like fall.
I do too. And these are kind of, I try to make these Halloween specials kind of fun and lighthearted and stuff. So, but if you do have any listeners out there, if you do have any maybe Halloween stories that you'd like to send in for next year, I would love that, because these Halloween special articles they're hard to find.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. It's hard to figure out like what to research and then like the keywords to put in. And so if you have any family stories you'd like for us to share next year on Halloween about you and your Italian American family, send it on in. So
Ghost in the Attic.
Ghost in the Attic. Like that old book, what was it? Roses in the Attic?
Flowers
in the attic. Yes. So, but like I said, we pull articles that revolve around Halloween and spooky stuff. So let's dive on in.
Yeah, here we go.
Our first Halloween article is from the St. Louis Times, dated March 10th, 1911. And this is a strange haunting that happened to the Pizzo family. So the daughter of the Pizzos, and it doesn't give her name, she woke up her mother one night saying that she heard a noise in the attic and that she saw a headless ghost walking around the halls of their house.
Uh-oh.
That's not good. And it doesn't say how old she is, but I'm guessing from the article, she's probably like 10 or under. And so her mother gets up and kind of checks around and is like, I don't see anything going on. Go back to bed. But the next night, Miss Pizzo woke up in the middle of the night after a dream frightened her. So apparently she dreamt that a ghost dressed all in black approached her and told her that he knew where she could find gold, but she had to do a few steps in order to find this gold. The ghost told her to take one pickaxe, 2 shovels, a lantern, and go dig in the cellar between the hours of 10 and 12 p.m.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
This is a very organized and detailed ghost. This ghost has it figured out down to the wire. And so when Miss Pizzo, she wakes up from this dream, she's a little freaked out and a little frightened, and she starts to go back to sleep. But then she notices that her husband, Mr. Pizzo, is not in bed with her.
Uh-oh.
So Miss Pizzo, she gets up and she goes looking for her husband, and she finds him wandering around the house talking about finding gold.
Oh, wow. But that was in her dream. Was she talking in her sleep?
Or maybe he was talking in her sleep and
she heard that.
She heard it. So Miss Pizzo was, obviously concerned about her husband. And it kind of makes it sound like he was almost sleepwalking. He was just in this daze and is like wandering around the house and talking about gold. And so she's freaked out at this point, and she calls the authorities, and they come and they take him to the hospital so that he can rest up and get better. So,
well, that's different.
Very different, right? I mean, it's
in the middle of the night. She calls the authorities on him.
I almost feel like this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like something else had to have been
going on.
Yeah, maybe she was like, look, kid, it's not really a ghost, it's your dad. Just go back to bed. We'll figure this out. And then at one point she's like, okay, no more. So, all right. Well, our next article is dated August 29th, 1894, and it is from the Times-Union in Brooklyn, New York. This is 1894. It was not a very specific article, and it starts out talking how an Italian woman was killed a few months prior in her apartment building. It doesn't give a name. It doesn't tell why. It just says that she was found killed at the bottom of the steps that were going up to her apartment building.
Oh.
And so the article kind of sets the stage for the reader, like, hey, keep in mind, this Italian woman died in this apartment building. And so then it talks about how a couple of months after she died, a woman was walking past the apartment carrying a pail of beer on her head. I've never heard of that.
No.
It made me laugh. And so this whole article is crazy. So she's carrying a pail of beer on her head, but then she looks up. So I'm guessing she's pretty good at not spilling the beer because she looks up to one of the apartment windows And she says that she swears she saw the woman that was killed standing in the window, swinging a knife back and forth. And so she runs off down the sidewalk with her pail of beer on her head.
Maybe that pail of beer was empty.
That's true. Yeah, maybe
She already consumed that pail of beer.
So she gets way freaked out and she goes running down the street, and she apparently calls authorities or a landlord or something to let them know what was going on. But nothing really happened. They probably were like, okay, stop drinking your pail of beer and go home. And so later on though, the tenants of the apartment building, they came forward claiming that they heard strange like screaming noises coming from inside the walls of their apartment building.
And this is in the same building.
This is in the building. Yeah, exactly. And so after this, the house became known in the neighborhood as the haunted house, and tenants were done. They were moving out, and the landlord was actually having trouble renting the house out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so people were a little freaked out. So finally the landlord and whatever was left of the tenants, they decided to call the authorities, and the police came and investigated the house, and they agreed that there was some very strange noises coming from the walls. However, they also said, and the police said this, that they could smell sulfur or matches burning throughout the whole building.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's one thing if somebody's lighting a match in their apartment building or their apartment to, light the stove or a candle or something, but this was anywhere they went, they could smell it. So the police came back another night and decided to go to the very top floor, which was pretty much vacant. And when they got to the top floor, they caught all 5 ghosts. They caught him red-handed. The paper explained it as follows. They were 5 young urchins. One of the young fellows said, "Oh, cop, let us go. We're only playing spook and wasn't going to hurt anybody." But the police arrested the young boys and they were given a court date to appear before a judge. So,
oh, wow.
I don't know if it was one of these little boys that was in the hall or in that window waving the knife.
Right.
But I bet these kids, they were probably definitely up on top of the building, like just being boys, like lighting matches, doing whatever. But it never really explained who was in the window. But like you said, she might have had a few drinks of her pail of beer before she hit that window. So
that's funny.
Yeah. Okay. So our last article is dated November 4th, 1899. And it is from the Morning News out of Wilmington, Delaware. So on Halloween night, the Italians in Little Italy were given quite the fright when they noticed something strange in a tree. So this strange object was described as being a, quote, grim-looking monster with great bulging green eyes and horrible grinning teeth.
Oh, wow.
I know, that's creepy. So apparently a group of teenage Italian kids, they were walking down the street, and when they saw this object in the tree, they took off running and screaming. The paper even said as fast as their legs would carry them.
Well, I'm sure that was scary.
Yeah, especially up in a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 1899. I'm not sure how big Halloween decorations were back then. So
yeah, that's true.
It's not like they had the inflatable
everything
pumpkin in front of the house.
Everything's homemade.
Exactly.
So was it real?
Probably like, what the heck is this? So then a group of Italians that were leaving a masquerade party, they saw the same object in the tree. And apparently one of the young women, she was the first to see the creature, object, whatever this is, in the tree. And she just takes off running and screaming. She doesn't tell her friends or show them or anything. She's just like, I'm out. See you later. And so her friends are kind of standing there like, what is happening? What's going on? But then apparently they noticed the object in the tree and they took off running in the same direction as well. So I can just imagine standing there and your one friend just
takes off running,
screaming, and you're like, what is happening?
And it's dark.
Yeah. It's like, thanks for the warning.
Yeah.
So now this creature, it did not only frighten the Italians in the area, but an Irishman, he got quite the scare that night too. So he was walking home when he spotted the creature in the tree and he yelled, "Oh, Marther." And that's exactly how it was spelled in the paper. Mom tried to figure out what that meant or what it stood for, and we couldn't figure it out. But so he yells, "Oh, Marther," and he takes off running without looking back. So this creature is Real creepy. So the first group of Italian kids that encountered the creature, they were the ones who actually told the authorities that something was haunting their neighborhood. That's how they put it. So Francisco Bellani, he was an Italian man who lived in the neighborhood, and he gathered all the kids and told them that they needed to take him to this creature. So they armed themselves with clubs and brickbats and headed to the scary tree. And I had no idea what a brickbat was. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
So I looked it up, and it literally is just a brick that you use as a bat. Oh. And they called them brickbats. I was expecting, like, I don't know what I was thinking it was, but yes. So the paper said the group slowly walked towards the tree, and the paper said they were trembling the whole way. And so they even apparently contemplated if they should give up on their quest or move bravely forward. And they finally decided to continue on and approach the tree. So the group said as they approached the tree that the creature's eyes bulged and the teeth seemed to grow larger and longer.
Oh boy.
So this creature is growing, or maybe their imaginations are growing. I don't know. So then all of a sudden, Francisco gave the order to attack the creature. And apparently the whole group, they just start throwing their brick bats and sticks up at the tree. And one of the young kids actually hit the target and struck the creature on the nose with a brick. And the creature dropped from the tree and hit the ground. And so at this point, the whole group is like fully brave. They're not scared anymore because they just run straight towards the creature. I like at this point, I think I'd be like, have we made the creature really mad now?
Right.
And so,
yeah, now it's on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, how fast can this thing run? So the whole group, like I said, they run towards the creature. And when they reached this thing, they were completely shocked at what they saw. Do you want to know why? It was a large pumpkin.
Oh, wow.
Just a pumpkin. And so apparently someone had carved the pumpkin so perfectly that it looked like a large, scary creature. And they also, inside the pumpkin, they placed green tissue paper. That's where we get the green eyes from. And they also put a candle in the pumpkin. Now, how this didn't catch fire, I have no idea, because if you think about a pumpkin...
How big was this pumpkin?
Exactly. And so you've got a pumpkin with tissue paper in it and a candle in a tree. Thank goodness this did not turn out, because I feel like this could have caught fire.
Right. That's why I was wondering how big the pumpkin, because I could see a candle being way in the back. But then you got to go up there to light the candle every night.
It's like such a strange thing. And then because when I was first reading this, I kept wondering, I'm like, where are they getting the green from? But the green tissue paper and then the candle. So thank goodness it didn't catch fire. But so at this point, the Italians were like, hey, let's split the pumpkin up and take it home so we can make pies out of it.
Oh, so it must have been a very large pumpkin.
It had to have been, yeah.
I wonder how they got it up there.
I know, right? Exactly. And then, like you said, then you have to climb up there and light the candle. And
right.
So they split the pumpkin up and they all take it home and make pumpkin pies out of it. So later on, Francisco told a newspaper reporter that the whole group, they were so scared that they thought fire would come out of the creature's nose. Like as they were approaching, like they were freaked out.
Right.
And he also said that he kept saying like little small prayers before going to get to the creature. So,
well, that is scary though.
Yeah, that one made me laugh. That was pretty cute. Especially because like we were talking about, it's 1899. So Halloween decorations were probably pretty limited. I mean,
probably all homemade.
Exactly. Or even and the ones that were even homemade were probably pretty scarce. So probably seeing a pumpkin in a tree lit up and green and orange, that would probably be pretty scary.
That's actually a pretty good prank.
It is, yeah.
But for the time period, a lot of questions back there. How'd they get this large thing up there and how did it not catch on fire?
Thank goodness. Especially being in a tree and it's fall, so everything's a little bit drier. And it's like, oh, wait. It's crazy. That made me laugh.
It must have been leaves still on the tree.
Probably, yeah.
Because otherwise you would see a pumpkin.
That's true. You'd see it. And it sounds like this was at night. It makes me wonder, too, because it said like the teeth were really big. Like, because, you know, you think about Halloween costumes back in the day, even when I was a kid, you look back at the pictures and it's like, my gosh, they're terrifying.
I know.
And so like I wonder how scary they made this pumpkin look, but but speaking of costumes, I actually saw this really funny video the other day. They were talking about costumes in like the 70s and the 80s and how it was like that plastic mask. And I'm like, I remember some of those.
I remember those too. You couldn't even breathe in them.
You couldn't breathe and it smelled like paint and like horrible plastic. What did you guys, when you were growing up in North Denver, what did you guys do on Halloween? Just trick or treat?
Yeah, got together with all the neighbor kids and we all went as a bunch and
Nice.
probably a 6-block area. And we spent a lot of time,
I bet.
but everybody did that and the streets were very busy with kids. So,
That's the
you know,
best.
it wasn't scary or anything.
Yeah. Do you guys use pillowcases?
Yeah, actually we did.
Yep.
Until I think got older, I kind of remember vinyl bags.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the best. Like I get why people, you know, there's like the trunk or treats that you take your kids to and stuff. but
Right. Nowadays.
yeah, it's too scary. But I'm always so grateful, like that I grew up in a time where going down the streets and going to houses
Right.
with kids and trick or treating and stuff. And I get it. Like I understand now, but what was your favorite costume that you ever wore as a kid?
This is going to sound funny, but it was a bum. Your grandpa helped me become a bum.
Did he really?
Yeah.
What did it
It
look
was
like?
fun. We put Vaseline all over my face
Yeah.
and then coffee grounds or coffee for the beard.
Nice.
And he had an old overcoat type thing.
Yeah.
I wore that and he had a red scarf. Oh, I think I did a stick
Oh, nice.
with a paper.
And yeah,
Newspaper stuffed in that red handkerchief.
Yes, because if you think about like the Hobos back in
Right.
the day, they had that stick with the bandana almost wrapped at the end. Yeah,
And some goofy hat. I don't know.
that's cool.
It was fun. I really liked that
Man,
costume.
I wish we could find a picture of that. How cool would that be?
I know.
Mine was always the angel costume.
Oh, you loved that.
How many years in a row was I?
Probably 3, and then you just outgrew it.
Yeah. And then I went to the plastic mask.
I know.
I'll see if I can find some photos of Mom and I on Halloween and stuff and post them up. But speaking of that, when you talked about that overcoat, so Mom's older brother, Jay, he had a coat that he wore to a wedding and somehow I ended up with it after he passed. And this sounds kind of bad, but we used it. Jared and I went as Frankenstein and I guess Frankenstein's bride. I don't remember what her name was. And so we used Uncle Jay's coat. And
Yeah, you painted it.
We painted it. Oh, yeah, I painted it. Oh, my gosh, I was such an idiot. So in our old house, I just laid the coat on the ground and painted it. I don't know if it was
Green.
Was it spray paint, actual spray paint, or was it like clothing paint?
I don't know because I wasn't there when you did it. I just saw the after.
So I laid it on the garage floor and just sprayed away. And then I picked it up and there was the outline of
I know.
Frankenstein's coat
On your garage
on our
floor.
garage floor. I'm like, why did I not put a tarp or a cardboard or something down? It was actually pretty funny though.
It was.
So, all right. Well, we hope you all have a very wonderful and safe Halloween and watch out for those creatures in trees and ghosts looking for gold and little boys in the attic. And like I said, if you want to send in any Halloween stories or folk tales or whatever that you have, send that on in. And our email address is itamstories@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, whatever you do for podcasts. And we hope you enjoyed listening to our Halloween special. And we hope you come back to listen to more stories about Italian Americans. See you next time.
Happy Halloween. See you next time.
Happy Halloween.